Is the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel, brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. This is the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. It's nice to see you. Good morning. We had a very huge yesterday, and we're going to be talking about that today. And so what I would like to do is say, welcome to the show. If you've never been here before, we go live every day, Monday through Friday on the Metadime Digital channel. We share inspiration, motivation. We share tips, tools, techniques. We do things to help you create thrivability in your life. We help do things so that you can secure a better future for yourself. We are here to serve you on the Coffee Break Show. Today, we talk about all kinds of stuff. Nice to see you coming on board. And we have a little bit of fun. So if you're new, put your name down below. I want to, meet you and get to know you and have some fun with us and have a coffee break. We get our favorite beverage. We get a copy of, some people drink hot chocolate. I don't know. But coffee is my drug of choice. And I love it. And so I have that every single day. I just want to say good morning to the people on board that are coming on. Hey, nice to see you. Hello, Karen. And so today I am looking, I watched the news last night, which I rarely do. I rarely watch the news. But one thing I noticed about the news yesterday is there is a bullying of both sides. They're bullying. I mean, today we watched a bunch of people come on, and what they did during the riots, there was the peaceful rioters and the people who had a message and they wanted to get out there, etc. And what happened was then there was suddenly people blowing up buildings and burning down houses. And that wasn't the peaceful protesters. They weren't doing that. And so what ended up happening is they kind of just bullied the peaceful protesters to the point where we had to have curfews, etc. But then the other bullies came out, which was the, federal government, and said, we are going to end this now. End this now. And one of the interesting things was there was a piece where the president of the United States and his defense secretary decided that they were at odds about doing that. And so what happened was they both got on the news and said, yes, I'm going to do this. Hey, good morning, Alanka. It is nice to see you, my friend. You have been on my mind, and I'm so glad to see you this morning, or in your case, evening. So anyway, we're looking at all the riots happening around the world. It's not just the United States that blew up. Europe is blown up. They were throwing Molotov cocktails at police forces over there and just, having chaos happen. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people who met at the park, and they're down the streets, and it's in Germany. It's all over the place. So here's the thing that I've noticed about our bullying. There is a distinct separation that's around the world according to human race. And there are privileged races and non-privileged races and everything else. And I think the world is heated up about racistness, or racism, or whatever you want to call it. But for me, I see humanity. And I think that racism, or the unequal value of whatever racism in the world, is the big hot button. And one of my friends, he's a reporter, and he's like, look, we've switched from COVID, the big pandemic, the big thing, to now the streets are on fire everywhere over racism. And I looked at these two things and I was like, So I'm not denying that there is racism in the world. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it horribly in front of me, in front of my friends, in my face, racism. And I've seen people be able to, I've seen people react in such humane ways when I've heard racial slurs thrown at them. And for me, it breaks my heart that we even have this kind of thing happening. But my hope is this. My hope is that the bullying stops. both sides. The looters stop. Peaceful protest should be there. And I think what happened to George Floyd is appalling on so many levels, appalling on so many levels. And I think that the world is making a statement about what it wants. It wants a higher level of consciousness. It doesn't want to be sold into here's racism and here's not racism. Uh, I thought we dealt with the bullying issue in high school. Isn't that funny? But it's true. It's like we're being set up to bully each other. That's my thing I want to talk about today. Unfortunately, COVID and racism takes their lives. I look at this right now and I'm thinking, how do we keep a positive attitude in this time? We have to imagine, visualize what we want to have happen, which is equality and equanimity. Equality and equanimity right now, because the forces of the world break down and are breaking us into people. We are now the haves and the have-nots, and we are the privileged and the not privileged. We are the Democrats and Republicans. We are those that believe the COVID is a hoax and those believe that we don't believe there's a COVID hoax. Where's the bridge where we all believe together that a united something is happening? I think the tearing down of our systems right now allows for other systems to be built that are that level the playing field for everyone, so that it's easy to blame. And this is where the confusion gets really, really hard to discern. It's hard to discern whether the blame is out here and excuses is out here, and they look so real and so good, and you're like, yes, it's because of them or that or it. Any of those things that are out there right now, all of those conversations that we can have, that we can stand, where we can use or do something different. But where George Floyd was concerned, it showed something that's very real around the world. And the world is reacting. And in London, they said, we just want you to know, thousands of people, we just want you to know we stand with you. And I thought for the first moment, there's a conversation we want to have. We stand with you. We stand with you. We stand with you. And how can we become united in that way? Not the United States, but united as in world. We stand with each other. I want to pop over here and say hello to you guys. Hey, Stephen, nice to see you. Good afternoon. I have no one to bully. I'm at home getting a lot of work done. You go, girl. Your honey-do list is probably long. There's many different types of racism in our country. Read what I've been writing the last few days. I will. I'll read it. And so when I look over here, we got South Africa on board. There's so much hurt right now. We can all learn to do better when we know better. Show up for your biopic community and use your voice to fight for what is right. That's what's happening right now. We're fighting for some equality and equanimity. It's not just a change in race or things. It's a change in a proper living, having a living wage. And it's like having justice not be something that you can afford, but something that's a right. And they say it's promised to you as a right, but they don't really give a crap about whether you're actually winning your case because it's truthful or real. They give a crap about you spending $100,000 to get your right vote. And those kinds of things right there, there's no equality in that. There's no justice in that. It's interesting, on the news last night, they said, trying to convict police officers, well, that's a tricky thing. And I'm like, okay, is there justice? And here's the thing. I think justice is a lie. I don't think it exists in the world. I think karma exists in the world. But justice, if we actually had justice, it means that all those people in power that are kind of being dethroned right now would be just and equitable and not manipulative and lying. I think reporters are manipulative and lying right now that work for the mainstream media. I think they spin stories and they're okay with that. And that's all manipulation. I think politicians and lobbyists, what is that? That's more manipulation. There's a fundamental part of our justice system that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't exist. There isn't actual justice. We have people that spend 27, 37 years in prison for crimes they've never committed. And it's extraordinarily high up in that manipulative system where somebody says, well, we want somebody to pay, so we don't care if the evidence will be admissible or not in court. We don't care about what the evidence really says. We're going to go ahead and throw you back in jail because we need somebody, we need a fall guy, and you're it. We have whistleblowers like, Snowden, who came out and just said, look, this is what they're doing to us. There's no justice. They made him a criminal. They were so pissed at him for uncovering what surveillance was already there in the world for them to do, for us to be informed. And as long as we're placated, we think, well, I got my house and I got my food and I got my job and I got someone to love and I got kids, I'm okay. We don't look at the world that we're leaving for our children, and that freedom isn't free. Freedom has never been free. Freedom is fought for every single day of your life, every single day. And there's so much opportunity in the world now than there ever has been before. We can make money in so many ways. We can do so many things. We can go ahead and create legacies for our family that last and last. I think our markets are not just either. I think our markets are fake. I think they're run by AI and technology and they create flash crashes, but there's no humanity in them. So I wonder, if you're signing the terms of service that you have to be on platforms like Facebook and YouTube and things like that, they're like taking all your privacy, taking all of your data, selling it to someone else, etc. There is no justice in the world. So now what? Now what happens? What happens when you realize, justice, where's it gone? Justice is just like this hope. It's almost like I'm going to prove that I'm right and I'm going to have justice. I'm going to have a, holier than thou moment. What happens when there is no reliable, good, old school justice? I'm looking over here. I see you guys. Yes, I'm going to say this right now. It was horrific. Yes. I like this. Blame, know, awareness, understanding, and listen. It's like these are the things that we have. What is there in that form of no justice? Ooh, I see you, Scott, and I'm headed right down there. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Thank you for being here, MJ. I think what happens is when there's no justice, then what is for the people? What's for the people if we have no justice? And it's not just justice. We have manipulators out there, killing, robbing, stealing. And with the internet, there's so much more manipulation. There's opportunity, but there's manipulation as well. It's like the Wild West. The amount of opportunity that exists inside the internet, you take your risks. You buy something, maybe it's real, maybe it's not, and there's no way to, do anything with that lack of justice. And the more that we do wrong in the world in manipulating and stealing from others, the more regulations are allowed to be created. And we don't know if people are stealing on purpose so they can get regulations to be created. Exactly how does violence make anything better? It doesn't. It just doesn't. And we are in the time of no real justice. I love this. Don't the Buddhists identify three powers that control, dictate, creation? Brahma for creation, Vishnu for sustaining. I think this is Hindu. I'm not sure it's Buddhist. I think it's Hindu. Vishnu for sustaining that creation, and Shiva to destroy that creation so that something new can emerge. This is a divine process. Absolutely nothing happens that isn't supposed to happen. When what's in existence doesn't serve any longer, it's time to destroy and build anew. We must just get out of the way. And this is interesting. We do have something that is destroying the old and rebuilding the new. Um, I like this. We live in our own little bubbles. We sure do. Hey, Risa, nice to see you on. I'm glad you're here. Okay, let's say it like it is. We have a bully in the White House. He is not a Kennedy, a Reagan, Carter, Bush, or Obama. In my neighborhood, we have got beat up every day. I have opinions on everything. Me too. Me too. Yes, I think there is a lack of leadership in the world right now, but especially in this country. We have in this political environment, we have a lot of people who come in. I've never seen, I can't think of another president where we have seen people come into the cabinet and usually back a president for full term. It's like when somebody stepped down or somebody was fired, or I can't even remember somebody fired. When they stepped away, it was usually something really like they were ill or something really bad happened. We have people coming in and out of this presidency there. Now, I want to say this. I want to say that I am not a Democrat or Republican. You guys know I'm an independent party, but my belief is this. I do not believe every president is perfect. That would be like, casting the first stone, I'm perfect. No president is perfect. No president does everything super bad, and no president does everything super good. And we have to the point where I think some of the things that Trump has done, he's done really well, actually. And then there are some things that he's done that I thought, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And I think that also holds to my opinion about politics. And one of the things that is evident in this particular political thing is that he's very polarizing. It's not like he doesn't get people to work together. He's trying to help destroy the systems that aren't working. And I can see that part of it. So, for instance, the thing he did with the World Health Organization, I kind of agree with that. We pay $450 million a year to have a World Health Organization that was so slow to act, while China was paying only $40 million a year. So we dropped it to $40 million a year. And if we can't improve the systems that are there, I think that is, the thing that was intended. Now, do I agree with everything he's done? Absolutely not. And I'm sometimes almost offended by what he did. But I also think that he's done some really quality pieces of work as well. And I think that for every president. I think that all the way from the time I can remember presidents forward, nobody's going to be 100% happy with whatever president is in place. The question is, are we thriving? And the question I think is are we thriving right now? Well, and it's not his fault, by the way, but when we're almost $30 trillion in debt as a nation, we're not thriving. We don't make products in the United States. We make consumers. That's our product. And so some of the basic fundamental things about who we are need to shift. We need to have out of the box thinking. I mean, when we came up with the smartphone, that was an out of the box thing. We need more out of box thinking that benefit humanity. And we need level playing fields where there are opportunities that are equal. They don't know, and they don't have, there isn't privilege. There is only privilege to those that take action and apply themselves somehow. I don't know how that goes back, but I appreciate that. This to me is a big thing right now. It's like there's so much bullying both sides, because I don't think it's just the White House. I think the people that are behind the fake the fake rioters, the people who loot and everything else, I think that's equally unjust. I think that is very harmful. And I agree with this right here. I have a very hard time watching it. I'm like, the first time I watched it, I was nauseated. And the thing is, you think that it can't happen to you. That's a gentle guy who just was like completely treated unreasonably. And that smirk on that police officer's face. Oh, God. Thank you for sharing that. I guess folks don't understand the process of who don't take the time to reevaluate, get sucked into the destruction without a plan, a viewpoint to build anew or get out of the way. And that's true. I'm hoping this is Ryan because it says Facebook user. 99% recognize the double standard of justice. Yes, it's been weaponized to divide the 99% instead of redressing the 1%. And that is you guys, this is the key thing right here. This is what I believe is happening. It's like, as long as we're looking at people rioting in the streets and everything else. But I will tell you this, I think the 1% are having a harder time than they imagined because of the president we have in office right now, because those things that have always been, he's kind of stripping back on those things. And some political people are very angry about that. So the thing is, it's like we have to take a look at the way things are run. Not everyone is bad. Not everyone is good. Not everything is right. Not everything is wrong. And the thing is, with justice, we have this thought that it's almost like a right. We want justice. And I'm not sure that justice exists anymore. I'm not sure it ever existed. I think justice is a concept, a possibility that used to be. But justice right now is another term for, it's like our legal system to even get something that is just and real and truthful, right? It's not about the just, it's not about the evidence. It is completely about the money you have. And the attorneys that have been here that are spending money, that are spending on criminal cases, they charge a ridiculous fortune to be able to get any kind of justice. And the truth is that justice doesn't usually come out. I mean, we know that our justice system is completely broken. It's more broken than anything else. And if we look at corporatizing prisons, we now have men and women put in prisons like sardine cans. Prisons make money because there are prisoners. And if they're stopped being prisoners, there is no money. And we look at that, we're creating regulations and things that will keep us locked up so that they can make money. The whole justice system has become like this green machine that just churns out money after money after money after money after money. And I'm like, where's the justice in that? Where's the justice? Where'd it go? How is it that we can bring justice back into the world? How does that happen? You can't bring something to the world that kind of wasn't there. Justice hasn't been there for a long time. There isn't consciousness in the world that says, we're really after the truth. We really want to set this person free. We really want to get out of that. Unfortunately, I want to say this, good morning. If you do not understand or support equality, they have yet to attain human status. As a divine being, even as a human, we must evolve in these physical vessels. As a spiritual being, and an aspect of evolution must be equality. We are all God's children. That's right. We all bleed red. This is a good point right here. This is a strong point. It's like, if you believe that there is privilege or something else that you are due because of the color of your skin, you are stupid. And so I'm looking at this. Here, Risa says, all of us are not perfect. That's right. That's right. It's like the TV show, You Fired. Yeah, thank you. That's really good. Thank you. Here I want to say, Ryan, is this you, buddy? If it is, will you say, Ryan? This is not just another presidency or election. This is an effort to remove the old guard that called the public to do their bidding. That's right. This is Ryan. That's Ryan right there. So there is a new something that is hoping to birth itself, and it wants to be here. And how do you move forward to not create more the same? The old guard is kicking and screaming, and they have groomed their successors, possibly, but I don't think that's going to be happening. How many smartphones are made in the US? We sell our technology. That's right. Or it's stolen, actually. But that technology, those cell phones, those are new ideas. No, for if we would realize beings walking the earth, or we just would not be here. They do say at any given time, there's at least one always walking the earth sometime, more than one. Yes, I feel you. I know what you're saying. Here we go. Unfortunately, the George Floyd incident is one of many more. Yes. I mean, this isn't new thing right here. What she's saying, this isn't new. This is the issue with that. Justice for the poor, I don't think it exists. I think justice for the rich happens because he who has the most money can hire the best attorneys and be out there and defending or doing what they need to do in court. But other than that, it's a big waste of money. With money, the legal system can be gamed. That's correct. That's exactly what happens. With money, the legal system can be gamed in your favor. So, Vickie Helm, you're an amazing person with an open view. Thank you. You've a way of saying things in polite and assertive way. Keep up the good, positive work. Thank you. God, that's, Stephen, that's really nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm hoping to do that. The justice is in the destroying of the unjust system. We hope that works. We don't know that it will. We're just, it's speculation that it will. And for how long? Justice is one thing and white privilege is something else. I agree with that. There must be a happy medium somewhere. I don't have the answer. I want to say this while I'm here because I am often one of the very rare souls. I am Puerto Rican, and I have I had my dad. My dad was born in the late 20s, early mid 30s. And when I was younger, it was very clear to him. He would not even pronounce his name Jimenez. He said Jimenez. That's how I learned my last name, Jimenez. And it was very clear we were not allowed. He was very, very, very particular about how we spoke. So sometimes you talk to my families, they talk like this. They have the Puerto Rican accent. We were not allowed to have it. Not at all. He wanted to make it sound as though we were white. Now this is 1938 and he was, Puerto Rican and he was a bit darker. And I am the lightest colored one out of my family. Most people think I'm like a black Irish or something, or Irish or white, some sort of white. But with that, I got scholarships and privileges that other people didn't have, mostly probably because I didn't have an accent. Now, I was not allowed to learn to speak my native tongue. My dad forbid it in the house. You were to learn English and speak it properly and have a very high vocabulary. Now, I know what he was trying to do was help me fit into the world because he knew what it was like back then. He had his hair cut in a certain way, so he looked exactly like the privilege that came with being white in that era. And he wanted me to have that because I don't think he saw it ending. Now, he passed away, years ago. But that is true. Justice is one thing and white privilege is something else. There has to be a happy medium somewhere, and I don't have the answer, but I do know that I've experienced what that's like being a lighter skin. My sisters and my mom are much darker than me and beautiful color, beautiful women. But that's true. I believe actually there is white privilege there. And I think that's what needs to be removed. This is where I agree with Scott. The justice is in the destroying of the unjust system. Although, um, although this is a very hot topic, I love this. I like this right here, Donald. I appreciate your point of view. We're all God's children, but sometimes we behave in an evil way. Oh my gosh, that is so true. I like this. It's interesting. I believe in the happy medium. Thank you for sharing that. Who does have the answer? At least you are open to exploring both sides to find the truth in the middle. And I will tell you something, Stephen, I do agree with that, but could you imagine the day when all awakening to the fact of the truth that of what we really are? That's true. And I want to say this. My friend here, Donnie, was married and had a racially diverse marriage. And he has the most beautiful children you've ever seen, the nicest, most lovely people you've ever seen. And at what point will be what at what point will it be okay for us to see each other as human beings and souls having a human experience? Because that's the truth of it. We're souls having a human experience. We all know that. But when we start looking at diversity education, we need to kind of have like spiritual education as well, just like Donnie said. It's like the truth is when you die, you aren't black, white, red, yellow, or you're you're nothing. So why are you something because you're in your meat suit? Why is there angst about colors and things like that when really when you die, what are you? Are you black or white when you die? Are you Asian or are you Puerto Rican when you die? What are you? You're none of those things. Those are the stories of the personality of your life in this incarnation. When you die, you are what you've always been, exactly what you are. Soul. Your soul having a human experience. That's it. And when hey, Brian, nice to see you. Look at this. Look who popped up. Thank you. Nice to see you on quietly in the background. The point of the whole point of this is when you're harming someone else in order to prove that you're dominant, or because your self-esteem is so poor that you think the body underneath you that you're dominating is how you get your self-esteem or how you get this false sense of self-esteem, then you're an animal. You're not even up to human consciousness. You're an animal. When your self-esteem is so poor that you have to bully another, dominate another, push another person around, feel more superior because you're living a lie. And someday when you die, you're going to be out of your body and you're going to realize that that body was nothing but a story that you got to live, a part in a play that you got to be. And every single day you get to make the choice of whether you're going to be an ugly player in the play or a peaceful, loving, kind player in the play. And here's the thing, if you're peaceful, loving, and kind, it doesn't mean be a doormat. It doesn't mean don't protest. It doesn't mean, hi, just abuse me. No, it doesn't mean any of those things. But if I take a look at the justice system, I look at it and I think that thing needs to be completely revamped. We have prisons that are owned by corporations. That should not be in the justice system. We have ungodly monies being made by attorneys that are absolutely in it to win it for their pocketbooks and not really win it for their clients. And I don't know that, I don't know, the attorneys have such a bad flavor in everyone's mouth when we say attorney or we have to hire an attorney. Most of them are not really pro the client. I don't think that system. I think it should be capped. I don't think it's like our pharmacy system. We should not have medicine that costs $1,000 a month just because you want to make more money. And I see that you can see us as a commodity where we could just die and there's another human being and die and there's another human being. So I'm not sure that justice is here anymore. And I think that justice is there are laws that we can use to be law-abiding citizens. But even those laws are bent and twisted to somebody else's agenda. So here's the thing I have to say, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I don't believe we are free anymore. I think we've gotten used to playing within a certain boundary. And I think the thing that has been robbed from the planet is freedom. I don't know if that freedom is because there are so many people on the planet right now. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that everybody's worried about the RFID chip. And I'd like to know that this is your RFID chip. You're so attached to it. We carry it around in our pockets. It goes with us. Here's the RFID chip. And it's already here in a different form. Everybody's got that chip and everybody knows. We live in a very confusing time, in a very confusing world. And the most empowering thing that I can think for myself to do, the most empowering thing, one is that you have to realize that you cannot fight it. You have to rise above it. You have to awaken to using the spiritual gifts, because the strongest, most powerful forces in the universe are the ones that most people aren't using, and those are the spiritual gifts. That is 100% of you being your soul and not looking around at what's happening. Your soul will tell you where to go, what to do, how to do it, when to do it. If we stop somehow for a moment and we just realize that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, then we can start, to the degree that we free our minds, we can start to free ourselves. I want to hit this here. Trouble always appears when you find those boundaries. God forbid you want to explore what's outside the box. Yes. I like this. I think it's important to remember that part of the story, we are a collective and need to reconnect with our support. Yes. Donnie, just a second, my bro. I saw Stephen had something to say. Okay. Oops, where'd you go, Stephen? Come back. In I'm okay, you're okay. Now there's a Wayne Dyer book from the past, isn't it? I'm okay, you're okay. What's that, Wayne Dyer? I read it so long ago. We have the opportunity to write our own script, and I choose love. That's the point right there. I want to talk about this, the choosing love. I agree with that. I think we have to become love. I think that the only freedom that exists right now, the only true freedom, is spiritual freedom and unblocking that mind. And in order to do that, you would have to turn off the TV and stop reading and start going inward and reading only those things that'll take you inward. It's like we're only beginning to see the collapse. This is the tipping point. It's not the collapse. It's like everything that is out of whack right now is out of whack in such a way that this uprising had to happen, because it's like there have been peaceful protests for this situation for years. And we got mad when they took a knee at our sporting events. And that was peaceful, but it was making a statement. And we just kind of want to make sure that we don't say or don't have, you have to hold neutral. Stop taking sides. That's the biggest thing. Everybody who's taking sides is being manipulated. You put that in neutral and you stop taking sides. Then you might be able to see your path, not their path, but your path. This is the moment where those that are privileged are given the choice to empower others. This is their test, whether it is wealth or power. What will you do with this? What have you done with this? This is the temporal world, and in this moment, those that are empowered are also being tested. If they have attained compassion in their heart and understand, they will cross the line of illusion and empower others. Yes, that is it. empower others. Donnie, I love your insights. It is a time. And today, when we talk about subjects, the beauty of the universe is when we truly live in our own world of love. It is the Zen. So I'm going to say something that I think is important to me. In this country, I watched a young man, college age, a young white man at a prestigious university, rape a woman, and two gentlemen saw him raping her, pulled him off, held him down till the police got there. And his dad was like, oh, this might hurt his swimming career. And they busted him. They had evidence. They had witnesses. They had everything. And he got 6 months. And they pulled a guy over who they thought might have been passing a false $20 bill. And I don't know if he even knew if it was. And he didn't get his day in court. He didn't get anything. He died right there in 9 minutes. And to me, I look at what they call white privilege, because if that was another color, race, and they busted him and they had all that evidence, they would have put him in jail for a lot longer. And that to me is the balance of justice right now, the difference between justice and white privilege. And I know that I'm probably going to get slaughtered for all these comments, but it's time to make a difference in the world. And either we stand together and say what the truth is and what we see and the value of that, or we are going to lose our freedom. All of us, not just some of us, all of us. That's what I have for you today. And man, we went over a little bit today. Thank you for being on the show with me, everybody. I appreciate it. Mwah. I'll see you tomorrow for Friday wrap up. We're going to bring Scott on board with us and have some fun. And then we are just going to talk about everything we want to talk about. Have a good day, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.